Hey Taurus, welcome to Tourmaline Tarot. We're going to do your July reading. It was the holiday, so much family time. So much. Alright, so now we're back in business. We are going to do July monthly for Taurus. Let's see what's going on for Taurus here. 1, 2. I don't like bending my cards, so I don't do the bridge. Alright, a cut for good measure. Not taking reversals on these guys, because I do a weird little hand flip, so I never do that. Oh, look at you, Taurus. Okay. So, coming in the first row, we have 5 of Wands, 5 of Cups, 6 of Wands. So, you kind of made some tough cuts, but it was in your best interest. You know, the 5s are changes, and the fact that you go from 5s to 6 kind of means you leveled up, literally. Somewhere in between this 5 of Wands and the confusion, and you figuring out where stuff maybe kind of went wonky, you figured it out. So good for you, Taurus. That's a biggins. So then we're moving into, you know, the Queen of Pentacles, 6 of Cups, Page of Swords. You kind of got your footing again, in particular. So, you know, people say 6 of Wands can sometimes be a little egotistical or whatever, but I don't see it as like the bad kind of ego, because with the Queen of Pentacles, there's a groundedness to it. Like she's kind of the one who's able to nurture and keep it together, like, you know, very grounded. Doesn't have to be an actual woman, but it's more the qualities for me. With the 6 of Cups, though, I don't feel like you're bitter about it, because you go 5, 6. We'll get there in a second. But it's almost like everything that you have dealt with has kind of made you look back and go like, yeah, there was a reason. There was a reason. Although with the Page of Swords, moving out of that, there's a little bit of a defensiveness, because like you don't want to replay. You don't want to have to revamp it, revisit it, etc. Or you might still kind of be looking over your shoulder a little bit, because if there was any kind of situations that haven't fully wrapped up, that you might have thought that you've kind of like came full circle on, someone's like, wait, I have another thing to say. And you're like, no, you do not. Because moving out of this, you have the 9 of Pentacles, Strength card, and the Magician. So like I said, things are kind of more about you and like what you have going on. And the Strength, there's a resolve to it, that what you want, and you could have been sacrificing what you wanted more for other people or other situations, and that can kind of happen with the 6 of Cups. Like you were used to a situation, you were used to how people were, and times changed, things had to change, but something wasn't changing, and you kind of like are out of that loop where you're like, no, I see clearly, we gotta, you know, 9 of Pentacles, like look at all the stuff I have going on here, everything I have to offer, but I gotta kind of do things myself. So there's an independence with the Strength and 9 of Pentacles coming together, but having the Magician there, that's a big one, because that's like everything you're doing is coming together. So it's not like, I see there's frustration back here, but it's like you're moving out of it with the Strength card, especially, because also the Strength card for me is also about not giving into situations. There's a strength in holding back and kind of keeping things to yourself, instead of just either blurting things out or having to muscle through and like shoulder in and get, you know, your voice heard and everything. So there's a little bit of restraint to it, that it's like eyes on your own life. Whereas before you might have been trying to not necessarily play nice, but accommodate other people. And with the Magician, it's like, ta-da, bitches. So, you know, it's the rabbit out of hat for me, that you're just like, yoink, look at what I have here. So, if we're going to read it this way now. So, 5 of Wands, Queen of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles. like I said, there was just kind of a confusion. And like I said, you had to get your footing with this Queen of Pentacles and kind of pull yourself out a little bit. Seven of Wands isn't showing, but I get that Seven of Wands energy where you kind of have to, like, not necessarily isolate yourself, but pull back from a situation. And like I said, worry about yourself. Like I tell my kids, worry about yourself. Because with the Five of Cups, Six of Cups, and then the Strength, like I said, there's this accommodating vibe that you're not into anymore. Like, if you've made concessions, you kind of figured out where things went funky with this Five of Cups, because it's the coulda, shoulda, woulda. You know, and it's interesting because in this card, you see the 2 knocked over and the 3 standing up. Well, the Six of Cups is literally 1 up. There's the 3 standing, there's the 2. But look at this fool in here still trying to come back. So, like I said, I feel like it's trying to come back around, but you're not even paying attention to it. And it's not in the fact that you're ignoring it, like you're just trying to avoid it, but you also are not entertaining it any longer. So if the past is trying to scooch around you, you know, you can see where things zigged when they should have zagged. Because with the Six of Wands, Page of Swords, and Magician, there's a sense of, like, you know, Six of Wands can be about ego. But like I keep saying, ego is not bad if it also alerts you that something is not going the way it should. You know, ego for me sometimes is a little ding, ding, ding. Like, I took offense to that. Let me look at that. And then I'm like, oh, I'm being disrespected. And sometimes it is, oh, I'm overreacting. But, like, either way, you learn something, right? So I feel like with this Magician energy being here, the stuff that you've come to kind of put together and learn, I honestly feel like it's separate from this stuff where you're finding your footing and everything. So I feel like this is some kind of, maybe not 100% new, but with the Page of Swords, it's like something kind of clicks a little bit where you see a window, you see an opportunity, and it's like magician time. Like you're sitting in this Six of Wands energy, like you already, you know, it's like see it, be it. I hate saying fake it till you make it, because I think you're not really faking it. You already are it. It just hasn't met up with you yet. So it's more of an energy of like you're sitting in idle, like you kind of have it, you know, you're ready to hit the gas. So you're kind of like, you know, that whole like I'm not getting ready, I am ready. You have that going for you. So when it is showtime, the Magician's ready to rock. So what is Taurus doing here? There's the Four of Swords. Like I said, there's this, you're not getting ready, you are ready, but there's a pause before it, like, yoink. So this Page of Swords, what are we waiting on? Five of Pentacles. I don't think the world's ready for you, Taurus, in some way. Although I did read a really interesting take on the Five of Pentacles. It's not about having a sense of lack or being left out or whatever. There's I don't know if necessarily it's an order, but there's people called mendicants who purposefully not stay in a state of lack, but they intentionally don't have a lot of stuff. They kind of, you know, it's like taking a little bit of a vow of poverty kind of thing. I'm not saying you're doing that, but they also don't like indulge in just like rip roaring good times. Like there's a stoicism to it. And I feel like you know that what you're doing is paying off on a bigger level. So it's like you're not going to go out and blow your money on stuff that you don't need. You're not going to go out and like, you know, buy a whole new wardrobe or something. You're kind of like reserving. I get this kind of like reserving up building thing. Because you could even say that with the Nine of Pentacles, Strength, and Magician. Is that you are kind of putting things in reserve. Because when it's time to hit the gas, like let's roll. So Emperor energy on the Six of Wands there. Yeah, there's like a boss control thing going on. And you're waiting for the in. So it might feel like stuff is not necessarily passing you by. in a way you feel like, oh no, like I'm missing an opportunity, but at the same time, you know it's not it yet. So don't get depressed. Don't sleep on it too hard with this Four of Swords. That is more of a rest card for me, because Three of Swords, like I said, are you going to put yourself in kind of like a state of thought where you're just like, ugh? I honestly wouldn't, because you have the Emperor back here. There is kind of this vibe of like you want to give up 5 minutes before the miracle thing. And that always drives me nuts because I'm doing stuff and I'm like, is this the 5 minutes before the miracle or can we call it a day? So, Ace of Cups. Yeah, so there is that like home stretch. Like, you're on like that 20th mile of the 21st and like you know that the end of the marathon's coming. So, let's see. Strength, 10 of Wands. There is an element of having to carry stuff, but then guess what you get to do at the 10? You get to put it down. Put it down, because you get to be done. So like whatever paces you've been put through back here, there is, I'm not going to call it growing pains, but there is that element of like, you have this new thing. Well, what the hell is this new thing? You do have to figure things out. So Six of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, you have the new thing. I'm not going to say necessarily it was built on the past, but what you've learned from the past is what is pushing you forward. Because if you didn't have this Five of Cups to figure out where you should have zigged when you should have zagged, you would not be getting this Ace of Pentacles. Now going on to the Ten of Wands, Four of Cups. You can't be disappointed again. You're not going to be disappointed again. Initially you might feel like, oh shit, this is the same story that we dealt with before, but remember, Magician is there. So Emperor is here. There's a control to it, even if you feel like the external stuff is kind of staticky. So I want one on this Nine of Pentacles. You have Four of Wands. So you've managed to have the 3 fours. Hello. So that is like that element right before you're making another change. That's kind of the high sign that it's like ready to flip, but it's not quite there. So, like I said, you know, you're kind of get your reserves ready, because when it goes, and this could be towards the end of the month, that opportunity finally shows up, that you finally put the wands down. Whatever you're doing with the Strength cards, you need to kind of keep pushing on that. Give me one more on this Ace of Pentacles. King of Swords. There's a very decisive logic aspect to this, and then you get the Ten of Pentacles. So, like I said, there's discernment, there's being aware of stuff, there's building your reserves. Like I said, the Five of Pentacles, you might be giving up certain things to allow other stuff to happen. So it's not really like sacrificing or that you're being left out or like there's a sense of lack, but it's a conscious decision to not buy this thing or not do that activity or not go out and blow X amount of money or spend your time doing this when you should have been doing that. Because there's the should-haves with the Five of Cups. So you're being pretty aware of where your energy is going. And whatever it is has to be deserving, because like there's this element of like, you know, we won't be fooled again. Like, I'm not going to be disappointed. And with the Strength card, you're able to kind of carry that through. And I'm not going to say it's going to be all roses. There's going to be a skosh of disappointment. But that's honestly where I think the ego factor is going to come in, where you're like, you know, the Taurus factor of like, oh, no. Watch this. Like, please, I don't think you understand my level of stubborn. And that's going to serve you in this. So like I said, you know, don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle. Like, you're on mile 20. You're going to hit mile 21 of the marathon, okay? Finish line is possible this month. So, you know, Ace of Pentacles, King of Swords, Ten of Pentacles. You go from 0 to 100 pretty quickly. Ace to 10. Zippity zoom, King of Swords, whatever decisions you're making are going to be the right ones. So going to the Oracle, what do we have going on immediately for Taurus? We have the Scythe, and the clover. So that's like the short-term Wheel of Fortune. People say the scythe is cutting stuff out, but it's also harvesting. What do you have to do to harvest? You got to cut stuff down so it can look pretty, not gonna say violent, but pretty aggressive. And like, oh wow, they're really chopping that down. It's like, yeah, we are, because you know what? We're going to take this wheat, we're going to make some taste of bread, or whatever baked goods you might want. So, it's time to kind of do that. The track, it's literally about doing stuff the right way. Trains are on tracks. If they're not on tracks, that's bad. Also, I want to point out, trains run on schedules. They're expected to show up. They're expected to do certain things. Like there's a way that things have to be done, right? So keep that in mind. Remember, like I said, you're still going. So here's the garden and the sun. So that opportunity is going to come because you're kind of doing stuff the right way. You're doing things. I'm getting like a Hierophant-y vibe. Like if it doesn't work, then you're not going to deal with it. If it's not for this ultimate thing you're trying to put together, you're out. And that's where that Five of Pentacles can come in. Because if you are trying to do stuff the right way, you want to go cut loose and, maybe go out to dinner or something, but you also know that $50 or whatever it may be, I'm cheap, I'm talking like Applebee's level, could be better used to put in your reserve piggy bank. Because you have something big coming. But that opportunity does show up. So give me one more on this track. I want to see what this is going on for Taurus. The Fish. So this can be finances. This can be something to do with career. But like I said, I'm not getting like a ton of money. But I feel like everything goes into your stability. Like everything's going into the Taurus piggy bank. Whether that's finances, emotions, ideas, whatever it is. It's like you're building up. So when it's magician time, you're like, oh, check out this rabbit that I have in my hat. So that's emotions. And you might have to kind of rein in your emotions a little bit. And when you get into the stinking thinking, when you hit the Three of Swords thing, where you're like, is this even worth it? Am I going to be disappointed? It's like, no. Get on track. Get on the schedule. Get in the game. So, yeah, we're putting an end to that business. There's a definitive before and an after to this. So this is like your before picture time, and down here's going to be your after picture. Okay? Like, this is before you redid the room. This is after you redid the room. So you really are kind of putting an end to something. And I think it could be more of a mental thing where it's like you're not, your goals are more important than what you were accommodating in the past. Because here's the pig with the birds. So I don't know. At worst, I could say people are like, wow, Taurus is being really selfish. Like, wow, oh, I'm sorry, I'm doing better for myself. That's a total jerk thing to do, right? So, at worst, I think that's what they're going to say. And you might have to discern whether or not you're keeping those folks around. Or you might be disappointed, that Four of Cups keeps popping up with the way people react to this. And you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize bettering myself was such an issue. And that's kind of when you find out who's for, who's against, and who's your ride or dies. I know that sounds incredibly dramatic, but it is nice to kind of get those high signs. You're like, oh, okay, so we're on that level. So I want to see what this opportunity and stuff is. Okay. Because what's coming for you is the tree, and then you have the rider. So you are going to get news that something is going to be very stable, very healthy, and it is going to be more of this Ace of Cups energy where it does contribute as opposed to this kind of take away energy. Because, you have the coffin, the pig, etc. This is where you could start getting your feelings hurt a little bit. Like I said, people don't get it, or they just are like, wow, that's like not like as generous as Taurus usually is, or they're not giving, or you know what I mean? So sometimes those people, it's also about, they're like, oh, I can't get what I could normally get out of you. It's like, oh, I'm going to be a jerk about it. So let's do a crystal card, get some pep talk for Taurus here. What is it? Okay, that was just too many. It's a little humid here in the workshop, so what are we talking about? Alright. That was squinky, but we'll do it. Because it's Moonstone and Carnelian. So this is emotional healing. And it's also female energy, but it's, I hate saying gender stuff, but it's more about, you know, like the moon cycles, etc. So that whole divine feminine business. But it's also about that creation factor. So this is recognize the powers in your life. Are you honoring them within yourself and others? So there's like I said, that's, I'm not going to say self-respect. It sounds like you're out there just doing whatever you want. But like I said, there's just like I'm not taking that. I'm not accepting it. We're not doing it. And Carnelian is creativity, vitality, regeneration, and sexuality. So it's time to draw on your inner creative power and regenerate your life. In what areas of your life do you feel stifled? Use this energy to power forward. So like I said, there's, you know, don't listen to static. I think your vision, you kind of have to sit in this Emperor Six of Wands energy and be like, no, I'm right. And I'm not saying you have to go it alone completely, but you have to have that sense of awareness of like, yes, this is on track. No, this is not on track. Because when it's go time, it's going to be go time. And don't be hard on yourself if you do have to remove yourself from things for the time being to contribute to this. Because like I said, when it's go time, it's go time. All right, Taurus, that's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you later.